And we are live. This is the first IWAR Network Tubecast live edition. This will be a live stream, so we are currently live. There is about a 10-second delay for those of you who are watching. But please, this is a 100% interactive, so please leave something in the chat box, and we'll talk about it. There's no format for the show. The show is uncensored, unfiltered, uncooked, raw, perhaps. There is no format for this show, so we want to talk mostly about IWA. We want to talk about the wrestling world as it is right now. We're on SummerSlam weekend. There's supposed to be a hurricane today that didn't show up, so that was nice.
It no-showed like Sasha Banks.
It no-showed like Buddy Landel.
Oh, Buddy Landel.
Ridiculous. So, Matt, how you doing?
I'm also well because of the false finish with the tornadoes and hurricanes and all that jazz.
And guys, wait, hold on a second, guys. If the audio is good, please let us know. I am not sure how it sounds because I'm listening to myself. I'm not listening to the actual feed. So, if the audio is too loud or not loud enough, please let us know, and I can adjust those on the fly. Matt, you can continue.
Oh no, just. We should mention too the whole. I don't know how do you donate?
Well, if you look on YouTube itself, so right underneath the chat box, you'll see a little $sign, and you can donate directly to the channel. You can do super chats. You can send a super sticker. You can do a lot of fun stuff. Super chats will embolden your questions so we can see it. Not that I'm not going to go through all the questions because it's not like we have hundreds of people. For the streamers that have like 1,000 people on watching live, it's a good way for you to get your questions answered because it actually bolds the question. So, so that's pretty neat. So, guys, ask away. This is a live Q&A. Anything in the world of professional wrestling, anything IWA related. We're gonna talk about life and all kinds of good stuff. What's going on in the world today. Again, this will be we'll try to keep it fun. So. Don't get too dark on us, guys. I will say inappropriate things, so this probably won't be work friendly. There's no editing, so when Matt goes on a rant, it's gonna be unfiltered, and I'm not gonna edit out a 12-minute.
This time I won't wish death upon any particular player.
No, you don't get us in trouble. We're gonna be demonetized. They're gonna throw us off YouTube again. The United States government's gonna be coming after me.
Again,
it's ridiculous. So, Matt, you watch any interesting wrestling this weekend?
Yeah, nothing's happening in wrestling these days.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Dead zone time. Yeah, yes, I watched Rampage, and I caught the last, I guess, 2 hours. I didn't realize that SummerSlam was on Saturday night till I saw an ad on Peacock, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's tonight.
Yeah.
I flipped over.
Very strange that they swapped the nights. This doesn't historically happen.
Yeah, I thought maybe because of the hurricane. I'm like, wait, where they were in Vegas, right?
In Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking, okay, it's not a weather-related thing, unless it was a fire thing I don't know about there.
No, I don't think so because they're having Takeover was tonight, so they swapped it for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but.
Yeah. And anyway, I watched. So I'll say going backwards, CM Punk's debut was a blast. I didn't cry, but. I got the feels when he jumped into the crowd because it was just like it went from like being like, oh wow, this is awesome to like, oh dude. I will say my personal take on this is that I feel it's very cathartic. I almost want to say it reminds me of a movie where a guy's been wrongly imprisoned and he gets out of jail and you're like happy for the dude. Not that it's that kind of life trauma, but he went through a lot, and I think. In a lot of ways that he was pained by the direction of the business he was in. A lot of us felt the same way. So to have him say a lot of things, come back, and as a performer, enjoyed his work as a performer. I'm looking forward to see what happens next. And I was saying on one of our other shows that one of the things I like about AEW is the unpredictability. I don't know what's going to happen, and I enjoy that. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did catch it. Just real quick, I want to say hello to Michael Durham. Thank you for posting something in our chat. Thank you. So, hey, back to you. So, there you go.
Life Dynasty.
The thing about CM Punk, I've been watching CM Punk since I would say 2001. So he was a guy that had a lot of buzz in the independents. Coming out of like IWA Mid South.
Mm-hmm.
He made some shots for CZW. He's in the Mid American Wrestling. So he was a guy that, as a fan at the time, and I was actively trading tapes, is that you heard of this guy. This guy could talk. He's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then I followed him from there. So when he came to Ring of Honor for the first time, I'm like, wow. When he was in TNA very early in his career, it was funny when he was always packaged with Colt Cabana. So Colt Cabana was always with him, and I remember watching him back in the day. I'm like, I don't think Punk is WWF material, right? It's like there's no way they're gonna sign this guy. Like, Cabana had a better shot. I thought he was more attuned to their style. He's a bigger guy. He could do the comedy stuff. He's athletic. So I thought Cabana was gonna be the guy. Like, I thought Cabana was gonna have like that Santino kind of spot. He's gonna be strictly in the mid card, IC title, what have you. But watching those promos for Punk and seeing him evolve over time, he told everyone he was best in the world, and eventually he got there. So to me, it's like a Bret Hart situation, because I was a big fan of Bret Hart very early. I was a kid. I was a kid watching Bret Hart. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Matt. I appreciate that. That's our little for those of you who just saw that's our little alert box. It's Ric Flair saying what's calls and all of this. So if you feel the need to give us money for talking, by all means, go do that. I don't like asking people for money because I think it's weird, but this is the way of the world for 2021 at this point. So if you want to support the channel,
you are a social media influencer.
Not really. No.
Yes.
Not at all.
Film yourself eating breakfast with your dog.
No, it's weird and gross.
Film your dog eating breakfast with you.
In addition to that, if you also want to support the channel and you don't want to give us money directly, you can use our Amazon affiliate link. So basically what that is that anytime you're making any kind of purchase on Amazon, doesn't matter what it is, we will get a percentage of that. It doesn't cost you anything, so you're not spending any more money. So just do your normal shopping on Amazon. And, oh, thank you, Michael. $1.99 from Michael. No, thank you. I appreciate that. The thing didn't play. It didn't play. Well, I'm going to play it anyway.
It takes a second.
It does? Okay. There's a delay on the alert box. I got to fix that at some point. So, like I was saying about our Amazon affiliate link, doing any of your shop. There we go. If doing your normal shopping, you're buying school supplies, the school's coming up and such. If you want to buy a computer, Matt, please buy a new computer. Please use our Amazon affiliate link when you buy your computer. If you want to buy sexual wellness products, we're up on that too.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. There's very good deals on butt plugs and such.
Blue Chew.
Well, no, I saw this thing, and not to get too crass, but I saw this thing where they have this vibrating thing, right? I don't know what you call it, but it's hooked up to your Alexa, right? And you can have Alexa change the speeds on it and such. So there you go.
AI has gone too far.
I know.
The rise of the machines. Literally.
It is the rise of the machines. It makes me very nervous. It makes me extremely nervous about that. So back to CM Punk. I mean, I'm a huge CM Punk fan. I'm glad to see him back. He looks healthy. He looks like he's in good spirits. I think he's going to have a lot of creative influence over the direction of AEW. And now, this is where me and Matt differ. We're not necessarily. I'm not personally a huge AEW fan. There's some issues with that show and the overall product with it that I have. But I think CM Punk hopefully is going to be able to help with some of those issues that I have. But they're doing great. I'm happy for AEW. I'm happy for the wrestling business. WWE is going in this, I don't know, this weird direction that they're going in.
Spiral. It's called a spiral.
I don't know. To me, it just seems like they're prepping to be sold, because they're doing a lot of things that companies do, and I come from the corporate world. um, that companies do to get sold. We would be reducing, a lot of their overall payroll and their overheads, and streamlining a lot of departments to make it more palatable for another company to purchase it. So there's a possibility. I'm looking for people who are actually going to buy the WWE. I'm looking at more like NBC Universal might buy it. Possibly one of these streaming services might buy it. Would be Netflix or HBO or something like that. Could absolutely purchase it. Now it's going to be weird to have a WWE not run by McMahon's, and I always wonder if because Triple H has lost a little power over there. And I wonder if he gets pissed off and cashes out all his stock and takes all his money and does something new himself, which is a possibility, of course. But the world of professional wrestling. I said this in 2016 that we're on the verge of a boom period, a new golden age, and it hasn't necessarily happened that way. Unfortunately, we took a lot of twists and turns, but with AEW and wrestling becoming more mainstream, not more pop culture relevant, because I think the Attitude Era and wrestling in the 80s were more pop culture relevant, but it wasn't mainstream at all. I think it's the opposite now, where it's way more mainstream. They're more advertisers are more friendly towards the product, which has always been an issue with wrestling. You can have, wrestling historically have had the highest rated shows on whatever channels they're on. It's just they don't make any money because advertisers don't use them because they think all wrestling fans are living in trailer parks and broke and such. So we don't get the high end. We usually get remember Stripes gum and Stetson cologne would be the advertisers on wrestling.
Stetson for men. Yeah, I have some of that actually.
That smells like shit.
It still does. I found 2 bottles of it when I was cleaning out my.
I'm a Cool Water man myself, and that smells gross. It smells very 1997.
I'm a Nautica guy, and I'll tell you the reason I'm a Nautica guy is when I was just out of high school, I had a crush on a woman at work. I worked at Marshall's, and this older woman who was probably in her 30s. Now that I think about it, she mentioned to me one time. She's like, "I love Nautica." I'm like, "Really?" I bought Nautica.
Of course. I mean, that's why we do anything.
And I've worn it ever since. So hopefully I'm not that guy at the store who's like, "What the hell is that smell?" It's me. It's me. Anyways, I will say this. I agree about AEW that as far as there's things they could do to be better and lots of tweaking. I think one thing you've always said that I've always agreed with is that, no matter who comes out with the next, if it's Triple H or whoever it is that comes with the next product, there's a thing where we just keep seeing the same old thing. Okay, it's the same format, same style show, same presentation.
That's why I can't watch Raw. It's been the same show for 30 years at this point. It's ridiculous.
Not only that, but if I stopped watching and actually DVRing Raw and SmackDown because they've been showing the same match, the same. I'm literally talking they'll have Corbin versus Nakamura 5 weeks in a row, and that's 5 weeks too many. And I just think as far as it goes when it comes to variety, you have all this talent, all this space on the roster.
Stacks talent. I haven't seen talent like this since '82 AWA.
Right, and you ridiculous. Have a development center that can train these guys and work with them and everything else. And one of the phrases you hear a lot is working the WWE style of wrestling. And I always feel that these guys who Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, these guys can wrestle any kind of match they want. I was wondering, how many of these guys can actually call their own matches? Are they just completely, we know the scripts when it comes to the dialogue, which I always feel that, when you see someone speak off the cuff, it always sounds out so much more.
So Big E and Apollo has wrestled at least 12 times this year.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that thing is, SmackDown for a while was more bearable because I liked Big E as the presentation. I like him as a solo act. But again, they get bogged down. And it's almost like, are they afraid of putting other guys on TV? And then, like you were saying before, maybe they're starting to get things ready. They want to just kind of have a product that looks safe.
Yeah.
Here's our set stars. And then they're going to sell it. And I don't know. I mean,
because Vince, how many years has Vince got left in reality?
How old is he now?
Late 70s.
78, 79?
Yeah.
Someone will know. Exactly. And that's the thing is I remember that line by Punk where he talked the pipe bomb, where like Vince McMahon will run this place into the ground until he's dead, and then his doofus kids will take over. And
I wonder what Shane does, like for money.
oh, didn't he make money in his own private business for a while?
Yeah, he was doing like streaming services in like China or something.
Yeah, who hasn't?
Oh,
yeah, Vince, the longevity gene's in there for sure.
yeah, Vince's mom is still alive. That's Vicky Lipton is Vince's mom. She remarried. I always wondered how that scenario went down, like with Vince's family, because we had Rod McMahon, who just recently passed away, who's Vince's brother, who never gets mentioned at all. He's in the steel business. So, and then he grew up in was it South Carolina? So he's a Southerner by nature. Grew up in a trailer in South Carolina. Kind of weird. Like, it's very great expectations. Like, your dad's this wealthy promoter in New York City. You're kind of living in this trailer in South Carolina with your mom and your stepdad that beats you. And then eventually, as a teenager, he goes up to New York and meets his dad like the first time. It's very, very weird. Like Vince has lived a very interesting life. I call him the Michael Corleone of professional wrestling. Because if you watch The Godfather, which is my favorite movie of all time, he has this thing that he feels that professional wrestling isn't like a legitimate business. Like, it's crime almost, right? And Michael Corleone in The Godfather felt that way about his business, and he always tried to go legitimate. And Vince has always been trying to go legitimate. But even in the final scene in The Godfather, the baptism of fire, to me, someone should make one of those animations where like everyone's getting killed, and it's like, it's Jim Crockett, it's Bill Watts, gets shot in the eyeball. Like, he wiped out his competition. The only ones that were left was WCW, Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW, and Memphis hanging there for a while. Portland was there for a little bit, and that was basically it.
Now, you talked about like legitimate type, going legit. Do you think if his movie projects were bigger hits, like if what was that one with Kane, the I one, Now You Can't See Me or something like that?
Yeah.
Like if that
See No Evil was the name of that movie.
There you go. If that was like Saw, like it took off.
Yeah.
And they legit, like, people were like, oh man, W's gonna make the next. Because I've always said for years, one of the biggest things they missed the boat on was like turning their people into movie stars, which we know what's up with that. But I think if he had more of an impact when it came to like society, because I always feel that it's a double-sided sword. Like, I know you don't want to lose talent to the industry, so to speak, of Hollywood, but that helps build up your own cachet.
The thing about Vince has promoted other stuff outside of wrestling in his early days. He had the minor league hockey stadium. He was big on the Inoki Ali fight. He helped promote that. He did like a Evel Knievel jump, like way early, like in his promoting career. I don't know if a lot of people know that.
XFL is a good call.
Yeah.
That's when if XFL had hung. I actually remember watching. I was on a date, and she was into wrestling, so she's like, "You want to come over? I'll make dinner. We'll watch XFL." I'm like, "Yes." So I went over, and Issa Go Blue. Goddamn, I remember her email name. Anyways, we watched it, and I remember Rod Smart or whoever it was, the first play of the very first game, the guy blew his shoulder out.
Yeah, he got hurt.
It was like, oh, this is not a good omen.
Because the big thing was like no fair catches, right?
And there was a ton of rules like that, where it was like.
And then really, I guess like they had the ball at the 50, and both both of them had to like run towards like to get the ball or some shit. It was weird. I never watched it. I thought it was
I watched a little bit. I watched the revamped version too, but I agree that I think if he had more mainstream success, it would be like, for instance, let's say for example, XFL.
What about the World Bodybuilding Federation?
Well, not that. But if XFL,
Gary Stridham is my man, by the way.
Yeah, if XFL went crazy and he was sitting there going like, and like he was like the new big commissioner for that, I could see him stepping away because he would feel like, oh, I got to make this step, but it never happened. And I don't know if it was a case where he just never went fully all in or what, but
I think anyways, a lot of people at the time didn't take him serious. And plus, Vince's own unique personality is interesting. If you ever watch him like do some of the interviews, like on Bob Costas, or the time he was on Donahue, that kind of stuff. Some of his interviews have been a little weird. I think him himself has turned off potential money making opportunities for him because he's such a weird guy.
So I think that's probably like industry wise, people know him to be who he is, and it's
Right.
like no.
And he would do like silly shit, like there's a bunch of stuff in between the sexual harassment lawsuits that he's had from him personally, ring boy scandal, steroid trials.
Boy scandal. I forgot about that one.
What happened?
The ring boy scandal. I forgot about that and Dr. Zahorian.
Dr. Zahorian, don't forget about Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob.
Yeah, Dr. Bob. You ever see WrestleMania 2?
Yeah.
So there's a vignette of Hulk Hogan working out, and there's this doctor. He has a mustache, and he's wearing like a tank top that says Hulkamania. That's Dr. Bob, who was one of Hulk Hogan's steroid suppliers.
Oh, I had a feeling that was where it was going. Okay.
Yeah. So it was Zahorian who would come down to the TV tapings and do all the prescriptions. He was basically a drug dealer. That was a doctor. He went to jail for that.
Oops. Well, all right. Well, to bring it back. So CM Punk returns Friday night, and then in what somebody did a great meme of Vince McMahon smashing like a fire alarm type thing. One was like Brock. One was Becky. Then he had his hand winding up to bring Undertaker back. And I do think the one thing he hasn't done yet is actually makes sense for the company is to have Rock have one match with his cousin, or was it nephew?
I think they're cousins.
Cousins, yeah. I mean, it's this family relation that there. So, anyways, watching the show, they did a bait and switch where the new Sasha couldn't wrestle, so they brought in Carmella just to have her be put to the side because we've seen Carmella versus Belair like a gazillion times as well. And who comes out but Becky Lynch? And Becky Lynch walks out, and it's like, okay,
it's a good surprise. Like no one saw that coming. I didn't hear anything about that at all.
Right, and then she goes, let's tear the roof off this place, and beats her in like 20 seconds. Which to me, unless someone I can think of the times. It was Kofi versus Brock.
Yeah.
It was Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus.
Yep, I was there for that one. I was there in the audience.
You were there?
I was there. It was WrestleMania.
Oh wow. Well, how was the reaction when that happened? What was the people? What were you like? What was everyone around you like?
People were pissed.
Yeah, like I always look at it this way
because that was when it was so bizarre.
It's not only storytelling that sucks. It's I paid to see this match. I paid to see a match. And you give me this? Like, if I paid, let's say they made Jaws 5 or
The Revenge
or Aliens 4 or some sequel I really wanted to see, right? And I paid the money to go in there, and they kill the shark in the first 10 minutes, and that's it. And the rest is just people reacting to like how the shark, like. But no, I paid to see a match. I wanted to see. Like, this is WrestleMania. You don't do this finish on WrestleMania. I don't think it was. You probably know better than I will. I know you know better than I will. But when Bret Hart was fighting Yokozuna, was that a thing where he beat him right away and then Hulk came out, or was that?
No, they had a legitimate match.
Okay.
No, they had a legitimate match, and it was just that was rough. As someone who was a big Bret Hart fan at the time, that was real rough.
I see a question here from Darren. What about Mike Tyson matches back in the day? I will grant you this. Legit one area that kind of you can't do much. You can't control that. I was at the game Tom Brady tore his ACL at, and I remember being like, "Oh no, we have a whole season to go." But I will say that I think like a boxing match.
Boxing is different because you pay to see someone get their skull bashed in.
Yeah, like UFC, we've seen guys who like break their legs. Like, what was it? Conor McGregor broke his leg in like second round or first round or something like that.
I don't watch it because it's a work.
It's a work, brother. What gets his? What was he? All right, you want to read the comment here?
What gets me that supposedly Vince always tells the wrestlers not to hype up a match that they aren't going to deliver. Then we get an entire week of Sasha versus Bianca, knowing full well it wasn't happening. Yeah, that's kind of shitty.
Very good point. Yeah,
it's a shitty thing to do. It's not, and it's funny because Vince, that's kind of against his own playbook. That's something that he doesn't necessarily do. Now, if they would have done something, if they would have had the match and like 5 minutes in, Sasha gets an injury, and then Becky comes out, then I can see something like that happening. But how are you going to have the person who is literally coming off a layoff, how long she's been gone? 9 months, 10 months?
More. She had a baby.
Yeah,
She's gone for a while.
Shouldn't she be rusty? Did she have a new hold? Did she get
Not
a new
only
finisher
that,
maneuver?
the way I look at this too is you've been building Belair as the heir apparent, as the next, like, this would be like if they had Sting come back from his knee injury, and just squashed him. Like,
What, Flair? Yeah. Well, he kind of did. Flair
What's
doesn't. You know what? I didn't notice this the other day. I was watching a bunch of Flair matches. He doesn't necessarily lose by finishers very often. Like, the wrestling styles are so different because now, people get hit with 2 or 3 finishers and that's the match. I was looking at Flair matches like this motherfucker never loses by a finisher. Very rare. Usually like he's trying to get someone in the figure 4 and they do the inside cradle, or someone tries to body slam him inside cradle. Like he's very susceptible to the inside cradle.
Well, didn't Kerry Von Erich use the victory roll?
He used I think it was a backslide.
Back roll press, yeah.
Backslide to beat him. So Flair never ate finishers like that. But because they had to go back.
But I think that's good because it opens up the opportunity. As I was thinking the other day, I was watching. What was the match I was watching? It was on Dynamite, I think, and I think it was a Sean Spears Sammy Guevara match from Wednesday, which was good. But one of my biggest pet peeves with AEW is the underselling of finishers. Like if you give me a top rope, whatever your finisher is, I'm going to let you pin me. Like it's ridiculous to have me kick out because it sets precedent. I always think it sets precedent for the rest of the time. Like if I'm watching the match as a casual fan, what I always talk about, we want to reach up to the casual fans and make them hardcore fans, not the other way around.
Yeah.
If I'm watching as a casual fan and I go, oh, that guy, he didn't win with that, and then he won with this, like, come on now. Which I also think too is the subtle, nuanced business of wrestling is that essentially you're giving your opponent a concussion long enough to pin them.
Yeah.
Like that's the twist of wrestling. Whereas that's why I like submission holds, because that's more of you got to grind it out and beat them.
You know what finisher needs to come back? Bob Backlund used to do this atomic drop. That was ridiculous.
What was ridiculous about it?
He would just hold the guy up there forever and then run across the entire length of the ring and hit an atomic drop.
Okay.
It was
fun.
Dope. And no one ever uses that.
Can I tell you, I gave a friend of mine a legit atomic drop once, and that did not go over well with him.
Nice.
I also gave someone the abdominal stretch for real once, because they were like, that doesn't really hurt, and I put them in it. And
I gave my girlfriend, when I was a teenager, I gave my girlfriend the figure 4 eye lock, and then she broke up with me the next day. True story.
But did you show up the next day in a mask and after nothing changed?
That's the Midnight Rider, baby. Aaron, are you there, Aaron?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
boys.
we have a run-in.
My God, that's Aaron's music.
Is this a work or a shoot?
Don't work yourself into a shoot, brother.
Shoot, brother. Welcome.
I heard Bob Backlund and Atomic Drop, and I just had to get in on the conversation.
Oh, of course.
Bob Backlund equals ticket sales.
He does.
Putting asses in the seats.
That's right.
Poor Bob.
Did you have to deal with a hurricane over where you are?
I did not. No, I mean, I've got my kid, and she's a bit of a hurricane, but it's a different kind of hurricane, I think.
Oh, okay.
This hurricane was a
I just had to
no-show.
slap her in the figure 4, and it was over with.
Nice. Yeah, remember the days as a kid, like putting people in legit wrestling holds and really effing them up?
Absolutely.
That's good times.
Those are the days.
Yeah. A note here about burying your own WrestleMania main event. First thing I thought of when Becky beat Belair so quickly was like, well, there goes your ESPY award. Hope you enjoyed it.
You know what's going to happen? It will happen on Raw, right? And then Ronda Rousey's going to come out and beat Becky in 30 seconds tomorrow. That's going to happen.
No, I just think after that match, I was kind of like, wow. And then, of course, we had Charlotte winning that title from
Did she get some more work done? It looked like she got some work done.
Maybe. I don't know. She was in Mexico.
She looks very different.
Stopped at the doctors.
Cheaper down there, by the way.
It is.
Yeah. I was about getting a butt implant myself.
Only one though, right?
I have no ass. I have no
replacement.
ass, and it causes problems with my pants because my pants fall down because there's nothing to hold my pants up.
Damn you, gravity!
Do some squats, brother.
Not with my knees.
Can I tell you?
With my surgically repaired hip, yeah, I'm gonna do some squats. So there's a metal bolt in there. It's fucking awesome.
You know what's really entertaining to watch is there's a woman that comes into my work who has obviously had butt implants done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's porn star level ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
it's there's no ignoring it. And my favorite reaction is the women I work with who are looking at me like, I'm like, what? Everyone's got a hobby, you know? Come on,
How do they poop?
carefully.
How don't they?
I know. Do they have a booster seat for their butt? Like, how's that work?
Because toilet seats naturally spread your ass, right? That's a thing, right? It does.
That's what I look for in a toilet seat when I'm shopping for one.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get a nice spread in there because then, it's ridiculous, and you end up wiping for 25 minutes. I was thinking about getting a bidet. We had a bidet at work. It's a smart bidet, which I'm not sure what that means. I was thinking about getting one of those.
It's from self-aware.
It's got good aim.
Please stop sitting on me.
Please, no. Please. Not again.
It goes back to our conversations about butt wipes and such that we used to have. I don't know how I feel about those because oftentimes they leave your butt wet.
Well, you gotta
Like, okay, so say I had this bidet. It shoots water up my butt to clean my butt, right? Then what do you do? Like, do you have a butt towel to dry your butt? And where do you put this butt towel? Like, do you just have it hanging on the rack with the extra your other towels, like your hand towels and such? Does it have to have a fancy design on it? Are there decorative butt towels that you could have? Can you get your name embossed on it?
The quicker picker upper. There you go.
Like,
or if you got a blow dryer nearby. Or
so, guys, if you have a bidet currently, please let me know how you dry your butt.
Just drop it in the chat.
Just drop it right in the chat because you don't want to walk around with a wet ass all day. That's weird.
Unless you do, then in that case.
Well, speaking of swamp ass, the main event. The main event was John Cena challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal title. And I keep seeing reviews talking this was a good match. It was not. It was they kept calling him what was Cena calling himself, like Mr. Main Event?
No, Big Match John.
Big Match John should be Big Rest Spot John. There was more resting in this where Rome was, and I don't know if Cena just was gassed.
Of course he was. He's in wrestled a full-time schedule, 5 years?
Yeah, but dude, you can't get it together for like 15 minutes? Come on, man.
He's too busy being the peacemaker.
Yeah, well, Peacemaker must sit down a lot because he sure did. And anyways, the match was okay, whatever. Went back and forth. And again, the false finish stuff where, like, hits the AA, kicks out. Okay. Hits this, kicks out.
He needs to grow a beard.
It was the show of spears, by the way. Like, everyone on that show used spears. Yeah. Edge, Roman Reigns, Goldberg, Bobby Lashley.
Gilbert,
yeah. I won't even talk about the Goldberg match. It was a goddamn farce. But, so Reigns pinned Cena. Joy to the world. The fans, by the way, just quiet side note, they hated Goldberg there from what I heard from everybody. Anyways, everyone's like, oh, yeah, Roman Reigns won. Okay. And then you hear the, I don't know, what would you call the Brock Lesnar music that opened? What would that sound be? Is it like a UFO landing?
That?
Yeah. It's like an ambulance that broke.
It sounds like it makes the same noise that my car makes. It's about to run out of gas.
Your car makes that noise. Take it to a mechanic.
No.
So yes, lumberjack version of Brock Lesnar, or as I would say, the NWL faithful. If Rhett Grady, Country Hammer, was a wrestler, that would be kind of like him in person. So yeah, he walks out and does the whole stare down, and Paul Heyman's freaking out, and the fans are all cheering. What you did see, if you change the channel, was then Brock destroyed John Cena.
That's wonderful.
Furthering cementing himself as a babyface.
Yeah.
So we have that to look forward to. So again, we broke a lot of glass, emergency poles here, because it's like for instance, okay, CM Punk comes back Friday night. We're all pretty sure that we're going to see Bryan Danielson in about a month.
Bray Wyatt's still out there.
All right, in the wings, you have Adam Cole, which, by the way, as Tyler Dresden filled this in and told us that the WWE online store has 40% off all of Adam Cole's gear. And then the Young Bucks on their bio, which one of the fun things to do in life is check out the Young Bucks bio because they update it like every other day and it's hysterical. They put a link to a YouTube video, which is them and Adam Cole. And if you've watched New Japan, Ring of Honor, BTE, AEW, there's a lot of history between Adam Cole and the Young Bucks.
One of the best matches I've ever seen live was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Young Bucks. It was a Ring of Honor show. They Cornette booked a Ring of Honor show, which is interesting. But I digress.
No, it just sort of think about, like, if you're gonna do these debuts, like, I'm not saying Becky returning wasn't a big deal or wasn't important.
No, it was great.
Brock, but
it's great. I mean, if this is gonna be, if this was 1989, I'm like, all right, we're gonna have this really sweet build to WrestleMania. But it's not 1989, and they're gonna blow all this shit off before Survivor Series anyway.
Right.
Oh, Cole used Britt Baker's finisher tonight too. Oh, that's dope.
That's nothing too. If my girlfriend was Britt Baker, you're goddamn right I would go over that league. Holy crap. Oof.
Ridiculous.
I am a fan. Good for you, Adam Cole. Good for you.
It was funny because, like, I've not sat down and watched a full episode of AEW. I haven't watched any WWE programming. I think I watched like 30 minutes when I was in Florida when I went to Disney. You know what I've been watching instead? I was watching Memphis Wrestling. I was watching Continental. Continental's dope, by the way. I watch a lot of old school wrestling because I feel it's far superior. I wish more people do it. It's the weirdest. I have the weirdest interaction with people about this, though. So, like, people at my job know I'm wrestling fans, and there's some wrestling fans there. So, sometimes they ask me, "Oh, do you see what happened on Raw last night?" I'm like, "No, I was watching Saturday's main event from 1987," and they look at me like I have shit coming out of my mouth. Like, what? Why?
Well, it depends how bad the bidet went, I guess.
And it's like, it's such a weird reaction that I get that, like, I watch mostly old school wrestling over and over and over again. I'm often trying to find stuff that I haven't seen, rare stuff, whether it be anything. I'm gonna watch some wrestling from Hawaii and see Kevin Sullivan act the fool. It's such a weird dynamic. I follow wrestling now, so I know what's happening because I have social media and I watch clips and I watch posts and stuff like that. But I haven't sat down and watched the entire show of AEW yet. I can't watch WWE because of the rapid fire camera cuts that they have. It makes me not. It literally makes me sick.
Oh, that's the worst part of it.
It literally makes me sick. So now that Punk is here, and I don't have cable, by the way. I don't have cable. I got rid of cable like 2 years ago. I was like,
that won't stop a guy like you.
No, it wouldn't. I'm a fucking pirate. Arg. But now there's something to draw me in. So we'll see how it goes from here. I'm kind of hoping the first program is with Darby Allin and Sting. That's what I'm kind of hoping for here.
Well, let's
keep them as far away from Omega for as long as you can.
Yes. Let's open this up to our audience. What do you guys want to hear about? What do you want us to react to, talk about? We have all sorts of action going on in the IWAR as well. So, any bidet talk?
Yeah, and my TT I didn't send my TT this cycle at all.
Yeah,
that was rough.
Classic IWA right there.
No, it wasn't their fault. I went back and looked in the email, and I didn't send it.
What?
It wasn't. I didn't attach the file.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I'm stupid.
It's a new form of TT, interpretive TT.
Psychic.
So guys, if you want to read my particular TT, it's on the Facebook page. So if you have anything that you need to react to off of that or whatever, take a look at that. Kind of screwed up the debut of the Brooklyn Queens Express, Ricky Spanish and Carlos Danger.
I'll say one thing. As far as topics discussed, the IWAR Draft.
Yeah, it's coming up.
We need to really rally up some people for that because that is one of our.
It's the premier event. It's the premier event.
Yeah, it's going to be What you're seeing right now is how we're going to do the draft live. It'll be live, unfold. So the reaction I get from a lot of players in NWL every year is, well, I don't want to leave the league, and I don't understand. So here's the IWAR draft. The way it works is everyone who wants to be in the draft can submit one wrestler or a tag team or a trio, but like they go as a unit. So if you have like, let's say 3 wrestlers, just put one wrestler in the draft. That's fine. So you have if it's Luther Alexander, that's fine, right? Now, if you get drafted, you will be able to transfer to your league for free. We'll cover that. And you have to be there by January. It used to be our rule. And I kind of changed that rule because what we found was happening was we were losing a lot of the momentum between the draft and the actual scoring of the event, which was, a race for points. So what we've done this year is the very cycle the draft starts is the start of the race. So wherever you are, you will have from there until the end of the year to score as many points as you can, IWAR points, that is. So league, titles, league tag, etc. And then whoever has the most points at the end of the year will be the winner of the IWAR draft for 2021. It's a little bit different from the past years. And in the past, we've also let people, like NWL people, what we do is usually it would be like you have to go to your new league to get your points count. Well, we've waived that. Because the idea is if you're in the NWL and you have until, let's say, January or March or later, you can still enter the draft. It's kind of like baseball. Baseball teams like a friend of mine growing up, he was a really good pitcher. He was lefty. And he got drafted by the Royals, and he went to Clemson. And he was there 2 years before he tore his thumb ligaments and lost his career.
Oh.
But he was like, they had the rights to his career, if you will, or his, wherever he went. So in a similar way, if you enter the draft, there's the IWL and the BRL. You're going to go one of those 2 leagues. So you have to be okay with that first. You just let us know. Now, the reason I'm trying to get people to join up or let me know who's coming in is because I do a prep issue where when we do the draft and we have it live, I have an issue of the IWAR mag that kind of talks about who's in the draft. Well, it's going to be September in about 2 weeks, and the draft's in October, so we need to get this shit going. So the more people I have in, the more I can work with. Now, the only thing we ask is that you just give me a little bit of bio, some images to work with, so I can kind of slap together the preview issue. And then when we do the actual draft, it'll be a new one for us. It'll be this way, but images will pop up. We'll pull up like our first draft pick is, and it's like bang, there it is. There's #1 draft pick, and there's who it is. So it's going to be live. And again, this draft is legit. There's no work in this thing. It's all like if Alex drafts who I wanted to pick.
I get legitimately hot sometimes.
The messages that went back and forth were fun. Because in the past, what we did is we did the draft like on, let's say this week, right? And then I'd take all the components and like prep all the graphics. And then next week, we'd actually reveal the results. So what's good about this is it makes less work on my part, and it's more about the actual live event. And what's going to be good is all of you watching right now could chime in like, oh, shit, so-and-so got picked. Or, we could announce a trade's happened. A trade has happened, and this was fun. We did before. You're like, who got traded? It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to get into a league because some people are like, well, I don't know if I want to go to the BRL or IWL, or in the past we had leagues involved. It's a good way to get into a league, and it's cool being picked as a draft. Being picked. It's a good way to get in the game, and then you can build off it. Like some of the #1 picks, like Alexander J. Styles or Tyler Dresden, Joe Boring.
It adds to their character.
Right. There's a built-in storyline there, the pressure of being the #1 pick. Or conversely, 1 year Koenig was expected to be a top round pick. He got so legit pissed during the event. And it was hysterical. It's like he was doing it in character, but then he was legit mad too that his guys weren't getting drafted. And one of the rules changes we made was because he had like 9 guys in the draft. Well, there are only like 3 or 4 leagues, so it's like you don't have to worry about like from behind.
Especially with the limit issue too.
Right, there's a limit on the rosters, and also there's a limit on like, well, if I already have Alex in my league, I don't have to draft his other guys. I know he's going to come in, and be there and active.
Well,
Let's see here.
Sounds like there's a couple of benefits as well, as far as some potential bragging rights down the road for the number one pick, or a possible feud. If someone doesn't go first overall, they could challenge the number one pick as well, and there could be a bit of a storyline based on that.
Absolutely.
Well, I will tell you, on that note, I got a message from a player who was kind of going in that kind of vein of like, hey, could I set this up to build, this feud around this, like this number one pick type thing? And then the end result was like, but I don't really want to leave the league. It's like, well, no, like if you enter the draft, you go where you're drafted. And if you don't, you forfeit the points. So it's like let's say, for example, Adam Cash was in the draft. And then not only does he get drafted number 1 or whatever, number 10, but then he goes on a tear and wins like 6 IWAR titles and has like 100 points, right? And you're like, holy crap. But he refuses to transfer to the new league. He doesn't win the event. Like, it's like, you got to go there eventually. Like, it's like, that's like other half of the thing. And it's a way.
Didn't we do a thing because Barry Stevens was drafted last 1 year?
No, it wasn't Barry. It was Turner.
Oh, that's right.
Turner got drafted last. That was the gag. And it worked. Actually, Jim Spur got drafted last twice.
Yeah.
But poor Jim Spur went into the insane asylum, so he's gone.
But his medicine.
Right. But it's a really fun event, and what happens every year is and this happens every year. It's really annoying on my part because I'm doing production stuff. Is players will come to me with a week before and like, hey, can I get my guy in there? And it's like, yeah, but like the more work I can put in now and get things knocked out, the easier it is for me down the road. So I just try to rattle that saber now, and hopefully guys will join in. And you can also, I'm offering this year, if you want to enter the draft and create a new wrestler, I'll cover it. So if you want to have an idea, like I have one player recently the other day and was like, hey, I have an idea for a wrestler. Here's what it is. And I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. And he's like, you guys should put him in the draft. I'm like, absolutely, because that'd be great. Just give me the prep work. So now it's on that player to give me like an image to work with and kind of a bio, because the gimmick is really fun. Free Quebec will be number 1. That could be. You never know. Like, again, a lot of this work is self-promotion. Like, the more you push yourself and kind of like put it out there, like, hey, this guy's gonna be your number 1 pick. You can build up, and
because I'm always looking for top quality T tiers above everything else, and I usually pick a lot of guys out of the NWL historically.
And I can tell you what we might end up doing too is talk about like some of the booms and busts, because we've had a number of busts over the year where I think we've each had back when there's more leagues, each of us had times where like we just had like the cursed draft. Like when Michael was commissioned the CWL, he had he had like 6 of his 7 guys were out of the game in like 3 months.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. It was like, that's so sad, because he needed the talent more than any of us. Oh well. I finally wore Michael down.
Nice. There you go.
But it really is. Here's the thing too: is the idea of it. Just so you know, from a perspective of kind of like, this isn't a lifetime commitment. The idea was always used to be that when you went into your new league, you were there for at least 6 cycles. That was the idea of the contest. Well, now we've moved the contest up in time, so it's a little more current and more relevant and more timely. We're going to waive that, but just expect you to be in your league for a short time at least, And the idea is that the IWL and BRL are all there is right now for the IWAR besides the NWL, and you don't get drafted back to the NWL, obviously. But it really is a lot of fun. And what's cool about it is there's so much history from the NWL going into the other leagues that you can play off that. I also tell players, if you want to enter your guy in the draft, that's fine. If you want to make a new one and then take your existing guy and go someplace else, that's cool too. I mean, there's a lot of good leagues in the game. We're not the only ones. We just do this draft for ourselves as part of the way we've done it for years. And it's funny because every year it's like so much work, and I'm like, oh my God. It reminds me of like when you have a party with your friends and you put a lot of work into it and you're like, this is going to suck. And then it happens. You're like, that was fun.
Who brought the Four Loco?
Four Loco. Get your boons.
So do we have any opinions on the IWL, the new commissioner of the IWL, and kind of the new revamped reports? I'd like to get some feedback on that. if you guys want. Don't forget that we still have the stable championship, which I have to actually do all the mathematic work for it coming up. So that's going to be lots of fun. I might change the rule that I might change actually the 4 wrestler minimum to a 3 wrestler minimum. We'll see.
You want to discuss the whole Bad Street Championship? I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, the Bad Street USA Stable Championship is I guess the first attempt. I don't know if no one's ever actually tried this. It's a stable championship. So I'm using, instead of a 6-man championship, it's going to be a stable championship. So any 3 members of a particular stable can defend these championships at pay-per-view, or actually go after these championships at a pay-per-view. So you can either challenge or defend them under Freebird rules. The format, it's very much like the 4-pack challenge, where there's points awarded for certain criteria. So you'll get 10 points if you win the league 6-man championship. You'll win 8 points if you win the TV 6-man championship. If you trash talk, there's 8 points. Average strategy total, 6 points on that. And then the team that has the most points at the end of a 4-cycle period will be the new number 1 contender for this championship. And it will be defended at a pay-per-view.
I love this idea, if only because the amount of work it's going to take is work I don't have to do.
I know. So if anyone wants to volunteer to track these totals for me, I'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Pass in the buck. Yeah.
Well, that's the only to keep me sane here.
It's like I say.
I try to do less work, not more.
What's that?
I always try to do less work, not more.
Now, let's ask Aaron. Aaron, you've been doing work with us in the commissioner's report aspect. How do you feel about the workload and what you've been doing? Like, is it too much, too little? Do you think it's okay?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. I'm still kind of like, getting my feet wet a little bit with it. I haven't found it to be too much work. Some weeks are busier than others. This comes down to, it's a hobby, so there's only so much time you can really dedicate to it on some weeks. But I think overall, I'd definitely be interested in increasing my capacity as commissioner. And yeah, so far I've kind of enjoyed what I've been able to contribute.
No, you're doing great work. Absolutely. So I
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's one thing we've talked about for a long time, is that what the game needs, an aspect of commissioners. The number 1 role, it sounds silly to say this, but from the IWA's point of view, the number 1 role of a commissioner is promote activity. Is to get more people involved with engaging trash talk, contests, sending in matches. And I found that I've seen a lot of, I always go back to IWA Flip, and when he was first, at least not first, but when he first came back to the game, and he was in the NWL, and he went off to do his own reports, and he was in the, it was called the Extraordinary Power League and CLL, and they were basically like, he converted them into Lucha Leagues and the whole Lucha theme. It was excellent. And he did like a huge report. It was fantastic. And he had no one TTing for him. No one. And it was like an echo chamber because he'd promo. And I remember I went there for a short time to help out. And just, we were talking in the NWL locker room earlier about, when you go into a dead league and how hard it is as a commissioner to like get a good report when you have nobody contributing. And I hate seeing good writers, like what happened to Flip, was he went in there and he busted his ass for a year putting these awesome reports out and no feedback. And it's just it's like a soul crushing thing, So we always talk about, like Alex and I, like, getting people on board, like, come on board, see how it is, give it, do some work and see if you like it. And, I always, I think I revealed in our actual first test run of this, with like, my idea was to have Alex replace me in BRL, but then he went to IWL because he's a jerk.
Yep.
Damn you.
Yep.
Damn Ryan.
The commissioner draft.
The commissioner draft. Yeah. But there's a lot of good commissioners. I was thinking this the other day, like, there's actually, I think right now the amount of work being put in by commissioners around the game, I don't know if we've ever had this level of work being done. I know in the past when it was like a heyday and you had a lot of people playing, you had reports, but the quality of work, and like the level of, intricacy, we're always looking for new ways to get people engaged, and, like the Rookie Rumble coming up in NWL is a new type of scoring. and it's going to make it so that the two finalists will be like the Rookie Rumble. For those in the NWL haven't heard about it yet, it is going to be anyone who's active in promoing is automatically entered in it. So just keep promoing, do your thing. I'll take care of the score tracking and everything. You have 3 cycles. Whoever has the highest average out of those 3 cycles, that's finalist number 1. Finalist number 2, whoever has the highest score over those 3 cycles. So provided they're not the same person, but what I'm saying, like, it's a way to like show different ways to score. Because one of the things about NWL I'm trying to do is really use it to show off, or not show off, but like to showcase the learning aspect of the game. So what we're doing is we're introducing the Teamster Challenge again, and that's going to be a way to focus on like tag teams and flowing for tag team success and how to work that out. And eventually we'll do a 6-man thing as well. And the idea is that I want to make the NWL a way that you can learn how to be a single success, a tag team success, or a 6-man success. So when you go into the IWA at large, you have a like a threat factor to you. You're gonna go in to like be able to win titles. I feel bad. Oh, I always feel so bad when guys who do really well in the NWL go into a big league and it's like they hit the brick wall. And granted, the BRL and IWL are extremely competitive leagues, so there's always that kind of caveat. So if you do well there, that's great, but don't take it personally if you go a few cycles without a title.
You gotta adjust your expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day. Who was it? It was Larry and I were talking, and we were saying, like, when you pull a 496 in the BRL and you go without a title, it's like, that happens. It's like, there's so many wrestlers there, so competitive, and you get, the Battle Royal prize is great. And then you have the IWL free match prize. So there's incentives to play in those leagues. But I always like to say that I hope the incentive.
I give you nothing, and you like it.
You give free matches.
It's not even on purpose. They made me do it.
I made him do it.
It's ridiculous.
Can't hook up the dude putting in all the work. Come on now.
What did I want? I wanted the credit prize, right? That's what I asked for.
I forget exactly what you asked for at first, but I wrote them an angry email where I was like, behind the scenes, we were trying to get the IWL to have like a prize, kind of like the BRL, and the IWL was like, nope. And Alex was like, fine, screw him. And I was like, no, man, you deserve something for this league. So I wrote them an email, and I'm like, look, you're giving all these new leagues these great deals, great bonuses, great prizes, and they haven't proven a thing. He's been running this goddamn league for like 3 years now. Look how active it is. Look all the work he puts in. Give him something. And the IWL Battle Royal free match prize was born.
And then they emailed me, and I told them to shove it, and then they kept it.
I remember that.
Because I'm a very petty person.
You're thorough, that's all.
I was like, man, no, I don't want it. Well, you have it anyway. Thanks.
Yeah. So
the winner of the Battle Royal gets a free bidet.
Well, that should be our first sponsor for the show. Like, be like,
bidet.
Get bidet company. I will tell you, actually, remember in high school, my first love was not a bidet, but her family was Italian, and they had a bidet, and I didn't know what it was. And I almost pissed in it. I was like, bro,
I thought you were going to say you almost took a drink out of it.
No, no.
Weren't you telling me one time that you took a shit in the urinal? Is that you?
Me? No.
Oh.
I've seen it happen, though.
Oh.
I work in a bar, man. You work in a bar.
You videotaped it?
No, it wasn't that kind of bar.
Oh.
I'm taking notes for my next TT.
I will tell you this, a quick note about TT. I'm doing a lot of TT work this cycle to like really, because I got so mad about the 501 thing that I was like, I just started pouring my head into my promos. So
you're gonna drop a pipe bomb promo on the IWA.
No, not. I don't really reference it at all. Page Turner makes a joke about it, but that's about it. But anyway, I'm revamping some of my formats. I'm making it like, if you worked at IWA the last few months, I've been kind of cramped for time, so my promos went from like 1 page to like a quarter page or a half page. So I'm giving everybody a full page. I'm making it more like the Barry Stevens promo of the cycle. You're going to see kind of like what I do, the resume thing, but I also kind of do like a timestamp, so you kind of see like pictures of his career, so you can see the differences. But it's just, I would figure, you can, when you have a promo and you're telling us who you are, like, part of it's the history of your character, and what your feuds have been and other things, and who is this person, So what I've done is, because I keep thinking about this, like, a lot of the time when you when you do a promo, you're just sending in your promo, and no one's like gonna know. Well, okay, well, who are you? So for like the Von Schnapps, I have a little block at the top. It talks about like they're the son of a famous Hall of Famer that was infamous for impregnating women all over the world. So he has tons of half, brothers and sisters all
like
over
the
the world.
Dudleys.
Yeah. So then I have for Barry Stevens, I talk about how his career went from like a rah-rah USA brawler to a insane social justice warrior, and the idea is that I want you able to see the promo and kind of get a quick, like, okay, that's what the character is. Like it's like if you're watching a show and you see that, previously on the IWL. I just want to make it so it's easier, quicker, absorb. I feel like sometimes, like, even some of the good guys in the game, it's hard to tell who the good guys are in this game, because so many people like being bad guys, number one, but two,
It's easier.
Like you can go out and, like Lone Star Redneck in the NWL is going around with a steel chair beating up the mailman, and it's like, okay, he's the good guy or bad guy here. Like, what's going on?
It's like my good friend the Backstabber. How can you be a babyface if your name is the Backstabber? That made no sense.
We don't know who manages the Backstabber, by the way. That's
No,
a great mystery in the game.
It is the greatest mystery in the game. Sometimes I think it's trolling.
We're gonna find out one day that it's Kim.
Because look, like Backstabber's TT the Cycle is calling out Luther and Atari. Luther is a heel. Atari is a babyface. I don't know. what's happening.
You bring up a good important point. It's also important to read the promos from other players for one very important reason. I got a player who wrote to me and said, I'd like to have these 3 wrestlers in the Triple D Cup. And 2 were heels, and 1 was not only a face, but was their arch enemy. And I wrote back, and I'm like, okay, well, first of all, they're enemies. They're not in the same stable anymore. And their response back was, oh, I haven't read the promos in a while. Well, if you're in the game, like if you play Call of Duty, do you go in the corner and just shoot like sheep in the distance? Like, I don't know, I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, but like you play against other players, or like are you trying to be interactive? Like character growth, for example. I'll use Stevie Vertigo for example. Stevie Vertigo shows up and he's like trying to sell bidets to everybody.
Yeah.
But no, Stevie Vertigo shows up and he has his is it Kyla Queen?
Queen Kyla.
Queen Kyla, sorry. I should know, but whatever.
You would know if you read the TT. No,
I don't. I just look at the picture. I just look at the pictures and close my eyes. But no, it's just. But he's grown as a bad guy. He's gone from kind of like just like this menacing little guy to like he's a champion. He has the Samoans with him now. The Syndicate's really like not just a phrase anymore. It's a stable, and that's some growth and progression. And I see certain people in the league that write really good promos. So if I see promos from like Mike Dynasty or like Rhett Grady or California Gunslinger, like these promos that take you on a little journey, Gonna Get Scott. Those are things I like to see. Because it gives me, like more to work with, Aaron more to work with, and if you enter the draft, that's an easy sell. Like, holy crap, this guy's been feuding with this person, that person.
I think one of the things I try to do with the top stories as well is I'll kind of read through the TTs, and then for the NWL top stories, I'll put little bits in there, kind of trying to help push those feuds along as well. So, the more you're putting into your TT as far as your feuds, I can put it in there and help nudge it along and give you a little shout out in the top stories.
Oh, guys, don't forget if you have any questions, please shout them out in the chat. This is interactive. That's why we're live.
That's right.
Yes.
Here's a good question. What would you all like to see us, if we're not doing an event or contest or something, what would you like to see us do? Something more of, something you don't see at all. Do you want certain prizes? Besides bidets.
In the meantime, I often tell you people that I take a germ of an idea, and I will hold it for a very, very long time until I grasp the overall concept. And it leads into what Darren is saying. And the IWL, sometime early next year, we were going to have the Tournament of Death. It's going to be a death match tournament. So that'll be coming up very shortly. light tubes and barbed wire nets and piranhas and what have you. That's going to be a new event coming to the IWL very shortly. In addition to that, I was thinking about this other kind of tournament, different tournament that we've had in the past. It's a lumberjack match type tournament or a scramble match. So the concept is that we have our 8 wrestlers, 6 of them surround the ring, 2 guys are in the ring. They have a match. Winner moves on. Next person's in. So the loser goes back to the back. One of the guys ringside pops in the ring, and now those 2 guys have a match. So I'm thinking about doing that particular event for early next year. It's kind of a scramble lumberjack type tournament.
Okay.
So
Great
there'll be numbers to be drawn. Blah blah blah. Draw number 1, number 2, and see who can make it all the way through to the end. And,
how about a bidet and a pole match?
If you could put a bidet on a pole, I probably would. I put my pole in a bidet once, so that's a thing.
It'll bring back my favorite ECW chant of all time: "Smell your fingers."
But I'm always looking for new and innovative types of events. So, guys, if you have suggestions, please just shout them out there. Let us know. I'm always thinking of ideas, even though I may or may not take them. Like I said, it takes a long time for me to take some of these core concepts that I have and kind of work it through in my head. I don't really just throw shit out there because everything I do there's a workload that has to be managed there, and I gotta see if it's actually possible to do or not. So, but I'm always looking for ideas, concepts, new events, new pay-per-view names. Always trying to make changes, and that's one of the things about being commissioners. You always gotta be looking, a year out, seeing where we're going, where do you want it to be, what events are we going to run.
I think that maybe that goes for some of the players as well. Look, one thing that I've been starting to appreciate is kind of looking a ways out and kind of seeing where your storylines are going and how your characters are going to develop. So
it's always good to have like branching storylines. So one of the big things that I do is that I have an idea of where a storyline is going, and it will change based if I win or lose a match. So I have an idea if I win a particular match or if I lose it, but I have both ideas just in case because, not necessarily. I'm not good enough to win on a consistent basis on pay-per-view. I'm probably like 500 at best. So I win as much as I lose, and possibly a feed or fire. We did that before, feast or fired match.
Yeah,
we've had that before. That was really fun to do. That's something to do. I think the greatest match. You remember the the match write up we did on Facebook?
Oh my God! Yeah, the mega match.
The mega match. So we had this concept called the mega match. So it was on the Facebook page, right? And it's like a choose your own adventure story kind of it was an exercise that I did like in like creative writing class where, all right, so I start off the match. I say it's Luther versus Atari, right? And we start the match out. I write a couple of lines, and then I pass it to the next person on the page, and they write a couple of lines, and they do a couple of scenarios, and the match kept on progressing, and it just got weirder and weirder and weirder. There's like 10,000 run-ins. Like, it was completely insane. That was a lot of fun to do. We might want to try to bring that back if you guys want it, of course.
The mega match, what it was too, that was the IWAR championship.
Yeah.
And what we did with it was Agent 26 from the BRL was the champion, and I remember Ricky Kyle came out of there with the championship. But what it was no one in the game knew who the next, like, it was like almost like Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So you knew there were going to be 4 people challenging for the championship. You didn't know what 4. And I forget how we picked the names or how we got to it, but it was just like we, had these 4 people, and he ended up winning. What about a live event? We will be doing the Eyewire Draft live.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a good barometer, and if we figure out a way to do it.
Do that, or do we do a dramatic reading of our pay-per-view?
well, that brings up one idea: is we could do the results for pay-per-view live the night of the results come out. Because what happens, just so you guys know, when the match results come out, the IWA sends me a file, and it has the strategy totals for the BRL, IWL and NWL. I'm sure most of you have seen me share those with you guys. So what we could do is sit on those totals, figure out what the results are, and then post the results or announce them live on here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a device we can have. No one else is doing this, so why not do it and make the most of it?
I mean, if we can go live as soon as gold drops if we're available, which may or may not be a real thing. I tend to work early in the morning on Tuesdays. I'm usually home by the time the results drop. So I sit here and wait and hit F5 until it drops. Like, holy shit, what happened?
Yeah, it is fun to see the results. I will say the only thing with Eyewire I missed was getting the bulletin in the mail and not knowing the results until I opened the envelope. That was the only thing about the game I missed because it's just the way it works now. It's just not feasible. I do want to have a quick question for you, Alex. Looking at this setup here, can you explain the screen backdrop here, how it came to be, who's who?
Oh, absolutely. So this is the starting screen, the live screen, I guess we call it. For this is actually a ripoff of the bezel for WWF Superstars, the arcade game, the one that came out in like '89. So I took the original artwork and replaced it with IWA related wrestlers. I couldn't get it right though. I had a hard time with the line, so I had to send it over to my man Aaron to put on the finishing touches on this to make sure that it looks great. But yeah, the people on the screen, we have Luther right there with his head half cut off, which I think is hilarious. We have Ricky Spanish, Samantha Soley, Steel Cut Oates. We have Senior Lucha. We have either Punk Rock Mike or Neo Dragon, depending on which league you're in. We have Alexander J. Styles. We have Joe Boring, and we have Tommy Landell. There's a nice little Easter egg in there. So
that turned out great. I think that's a nice touch.
It came out way better than I was expecting, so I was very, very happy on that. And I may like switch out characters here and there if it's possible down the road. But again, this is the name of the channel is Retro Wrestling Games, and that's why the IWA is here, because you can't get more retro than the IWA. It's a play-by-mail wrestling game that's basically text-based from 1985.
I was trying to think of, is there any other game like
nothing? There's nothing left. There's nothing left.
Is there any other game like people still play as a hobby that is like this archaic?
Stratomatic, maybe.
Oh God, Stratomatic baseball.
Like that's basically it. I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, everything's evolved. Fantasy has evolved. Like no one's doing like the e-feds anymore. That's not a thing anymore. Everyone's doing their 2K. Like you could do a 2K like league now.
Oh, speaking of 2K, did you hear the hubbub about 2K?
The new one that's coming out?
No, apparently WWE's had a big falling out with the company.
Oh yeah.
I got a message today. I'll when I popped open.
Did they future endeavor the company?
Kind of. What they did. Let me get a picture of it here. I took a screenshot of it. Sorry, let me go to my folder here. So I open up my game, and as I open it up, there's this the loading screen, and the loading screen has an image of I've never seen them do before, and the image is here it is. It's AJ Styles soaring through the air, and then to the left of him it says the WWE 2K19 logo, and my computer's slow, and essentially saying that this server is going to be shut down.
Yeah. Which happens.
So, well, yeah, but apparently they're shutting a lot of them down. Shutting down the W2K19 servers. Support for the WWE Live servers will continue until further notice. Stay tuned for more details at a later date. Apparently, this whole there tons of releases has caused a lot of havoc with production of the 2K22 version game.
Yeah.
So as you might imagine, they're probably production guys.
Well,
what the hell?
To their credit, they left because 20 was so bad. they left the 19 servers up because they usually like by by the time the next two games come out. So for example, like 2K16, they left the servers up for 17, but by the time they get to 18, they turned off the 2K16 servers. So there's nothing necessarily out of the ordinary. Now, yeah, are they going to be pissed that? But it doesn't necessarily matter all that much because back in the days, you know, if you look at some of these video games, their rosters are fucking a year and a half old, and half the people are not on them anyway. So if you look at like the WrestleMania game for the NES, most notably the WCW video game that featured Eddie Gilbert on it and Ricky Steamboat, and it came out in 1990, and they were long gone by then. So par for the course. I can see a scenario if this engine is good enough, like they won't release new games; they'll just update rosters. Well, you have to buy DLC rosters updates because them putting out this game every year it's terrible. Like I just played Madden 21
on purpose.
Yeah, and it's terrible. It's a terrible game. It was like, why am I gonna buy Madden 22? I don't buy games, by the way. I have Xbox Game Pass, and I get all these games for $9.99 a month. So I have it's like 100 games on there that you can play on Xbox Game Pass, and the Madden one is one of them.
I will take this moment to say that if you are on the PlayStation Network, Riley 1D20 is my name. Not that I play very often, but I do like to play.
Wait till those PS4 servers go down. Now you have to get a PS5 that you can't find anymore.
They're not even available anyway. So
no, people come in. Yeah, I don't pay for anything.
You pay for something.
I'm a pirate. I mean, I could have got it for free. I did have the free trial. I did pay the $10 for it, though.
Well, what I'm wondering is, when are they going to come out with a game that's called Bidet Simulator?
It probably already exists.
I'm sure you can find it in Germany.
Like there's some games out in Japan that are interesting. I'm gonna leave it there.
Right there. I will tell you this: my friend went to Japan, and the one thing I remember him telling me was that they sold underwear, like women's underwear, in vending machines.
Used women's underwear and vending machines, which is dope if you're into that kind of stuff.
My God, it's a brown panties match. Yeah. Where are they? Oh, they wrestled earlier. Oh no.
Well, it goes back to female performers selling their gear.
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
Matt, you gonna buy CM Punk's new T-shirt off of Pro Wrestling Tees?
I heard he broke the record for sales in like 24 hours.
I would buy it. I don't wear white T-shirts because I'm a very sloppy eater, and I will get stains.
Actually, we can drop this nugget too, as far as surprises.
My money goes to Pornhub, my Pornhub account, by the way,
and Xbox,
and OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, we should open our OnlyFans account now while it still lasts.
Well, we can make a lot of money on OnlyFans because I'm not getting naked on camera, so they'll accept me fine. It'll not be a problem.
No, I was going to say that coming soon to the IWAR will be a selection of IWAR merchandise.
That's coming.
So just in time for Christmas. I'm working on the designs, the purchasing of the clothing. I got set up the date with the model, and then we will get it out there.
We're gonna give CM Punk a run for his money.
Yeah, we will definitely set a record for one-day sales for the IWAR. We sold one shirt. It's a record.
If you buy 2 shirts, you get a free bidet.
Well, it's funny. Number 1 draft pick T-shirts. Years ago, I used to give a free T-shirt away to the winner of the Murano Memorial.
It's true.
And it was quite popular. And it was funny because I gave away 3 or 4 of them before I didn't do it anymore. But mostly because the logo I was using had a completely stolen image in it. So it was like, well, whatever. But we have a completely original design for the IWAR logo. We have a couple good taglines. Like I said, I have the model lined up, so we'll do a shoot. And once we get the shoot done and get the pictures back and everything else, we will get that rolling. So the target's for November, but we'll see if we get it out earlier. Perhaps we'll have a T-shirt giveaway as part of the prizes we offer too. So I won't give any more
butt towels.
Right. Well, after the day. I'm also working on a couple of the surprises for the NWL. So there's a lot of stuff we have going on to kind of like make it fun, But we try.
We do. We're trying. We're trying to. Go ahead.
I was this is going to be a question I'm going to be asked. Is this event, these live Tubecasts, are they usurping / replacing the regular Tubecast?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't think we could actually do a Tubecast live because it would sound shitty.
There's way too much swearing. If we just taped the pre-show and the post-show of the Tubecast,
no, we go to prison.
Wow,
fantastic!
It's called "Here We Go, Burying the Competition."
No, we're gonna have our normal Tubecast. I just wanted to have this as kind of I felt there was a little bit more of a demand for more IWA related content and just content in general. And I didn't want to do any more editing because I hate it so much. And with live streams, you don't have to do any editing. You just kind of just go. So I do have like my other projects that are just like they're kind of just sitting here. Would it be the AWA 1990 project? Would it be the Retro Wrestling Games Presents? Like those are still stuff that I'm actively trying to accomplish.
Don't forget our other new project is Super Secret.
Yeah, the Super Secret project. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm concerned because I don't know how to read. So I read at a 3rd grade level. So that's a problem.
There it is.
But if you know anyone that's a good reader that can really enunciate, please let me know. We'll get that off and running pretty soon. But yeah, we have stuff out. It's just I work, Matt works, stuff.
Yep.
I have family obligations. Matt has sexual obligations. I mean, it's just the way it works.
Yep.
Bidet obligations.
Absolutely. That's always the toughest part. So like, if I can just come on here for like an hour or an hour and a half or whatever, and just talk shit for a while, then then we're good to go. They made one wrestler in the BRL just for me. Well, who is that, Darren? I'd like to know. That's sounds like fun.
Outhouse Jack, the finisher. Outhouse Jack Bidet.
So I think in general here, I'm still looking for some feedback on the IWL, the new report, the new commissioner who is Don King, which I thought was hilarious. So I'm always looking for feedback on that. I'm looking forward to where we're going. I'm looking forward to the kind of directions that we're going, and these live streams gives us more potential for some revenue. It's not like we make a ton. I make about a whole $2.76 off of YouTube every month, but I do these videos do make money. It's not a lot of it, not that I necessarily need it, but I like to have more money because a lot of the money that I make from the Amazon, like all 100% of the proceeds goes right back into the channel anyway. So if I need new equipment with like this new headset I just got, it cost me $100. It's not cheap. It took me like fucking 6 months to save up for it.
$100?
Yes. Because the people, here's the deal, a little behind the scenes. My wife is an accountant. So she watches every penny like a crazy person. So like if it's not in her proposed budget, that's it. It's no luck. So I have to find alternative ways to get revenue so I can invest it back into the channel. That's how that goes. If you know anyone that's an accountant or involved in any kind of money, I guess any kind of financial avenues, like, it could be rough, because why you spend $10 on lunch today? You're only budgeted for $8, like that type of shit, right? Like that's how it goes. So it's one thing to keep in mind. So that's why I try to create as much revenue as possible so I can support the channel without getting my wife mad at me. I don't even look at my paycheck. I don't even know how much money I make. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
You do a tag tournaments where those who are drafted into teams, not necessarily their own teams. Yes, the lethal lottery.
Yes, the lethal lottery, which I'll actually tell you that we're going to do a 6-man version of that.
Really? 6-man lethal lottery.
Yes.
Oh, question. Well, I have the 7 of you that are watching this live. Do any of you guys got any kind of social media accounts like Twitter and stuff like that? If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at RW Games Presents on Twitter. Matt is at Big Dildos 26 on Twitter.
That's not the wrestling one.
No,
that's the porn one.
Yes.
Does anyone have a porn Twitter account?
Is that every Twitter account?
No, like, all right. So, does anyone have a burner Twitter account where they just look at porn on Twitter?
Bidets only.
Why do I feel like I'm the only one on these things? So do not follow Rex King 69 on Twitter because it's not safe for work.
Rex King.
How do you spell Rex?
REX. It's at Rex King 36. Do not follow that account because it's porn.
Well, I definitely won't be doing that later.
It will literally give your phone an infection. It's like LimeWire. You guys remember LimeWire? So yeah, it's like who has a legit like Pornhub account? You don't have to admit it, but does anyone know anyone that has like I pay for this or like you gave Pornhub your email? Because there got to be people who actually do that. Probably tracks your stuff. It's probably weird. It's gone off the rails.
I would say that I always think about this. After I read up the whole OnlyFans thing falling apart, or is going to go the way of Tumblr.
Yeah.
I think the thing with like OnlyFans, people felt like a connection. They're like, oh, they're giving money to like these people, like whatever. Whereas, once that goes away, there's like, well, you're still going to support someone to see their shoes or like whatever the hell you want to see on there. Like,
I think a lot of it was like they felt like you provide this content, I like it, I want you to continue to provide this content. I'm going to give you $3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to. But there's a lot of people out there who doesn't think. Would it be people who would try to make money on YouTube or socials or Instagram or any of that kind of stuff who don't feel that's real work? And for someone who actually puts in the work to create content for YouTube, it's a ridiculous amount of work. It's more work than most people, especially if you want to get like this channel is eligible to make money, and it took a lot of work to get there. To get to that level where you're actually making money, like you got to put in, you're putting in a good 20, 25 hours, and people don't think that's real work, but there's people who actually do this for corporations and stuff that get paid a salary, a weekly salary, where people like me and others are trying to create this content. So it is work, and society is changing, and the way people make money is changing. So, I think in the next 10 years, the 9-to-5 job is going to go away to people like, well, I can make money doing Uber and stream video games and kind of do some of these other things. I could do DoorDash and kind of make money on my own terms. I think that's stuff like that's going to happen versus, hey, listen, I have my 9-to-5. That's why some of these lower end jobs, people are not like, I'm gonna go fucking bust my ass working at Burger King, or I'm just gonna fucking DoorDash and then work when I want to work,
right,
and make the same amount of money. So there's more options than there were before, and I think people are just resistant to that particular change. Oh, while I say that, make sure you donate the super chat on YouTube, by the way. And give us money.
I'll tell you this much though. I think one thing that's going to happen eventually is someone, I don't know who, but they're going to challenge the whole 90-day non-compete bullshit.
Yeah, if
from
they took him to
McMahon.
court, they would win. It's just the money that it costs to take him to court. Jesse proved that like their contracts are bullshit.
I would love to see Tony Khan, because he has the money, just say like, "Go ahead and challenge him. I'll back you."
He's not going to do that because he does the same thing. I'm sure he has 90-day clauses on his contract. We haven't seen the AEW contract, so we don't know for sure. He didn't make them employees, that's for sure. That he said he kind of was going to do. And I don't think they got insurance. I think they're still 1099s.
I still say the way they have to do eventually, and this is what would probably make me blackball from wrestling if I ever went in, is you become a union by you becoming stuntmen. You are entertainment performers. You are stuntmen. You should be paid accordingly. You should be in a union accordingly. If you get hurt, you should have coverage. You should, all these things.
It should have happened. It's gonna be hard to do now. It should have happened 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Because the top guys are like, no, I got mine. See ya.
Right.
Like they try to do like they have that. They have a wrestlers union in Mexico. Like, it's a real.
Do they
thing.
really?
Yeah, it's a real thing.
God.
It's tough. It's a union, but it's run by the promotion. It's weird. But it's like you're in a carny business, so it's like, do carnival workers have unions? Like the dude with like missing a leg and the freak show lady and the straw man, do they got unions? I don't think so. It sucks because they get taken advantage.
They're bringing back our local carnival. Is coming back.
We had one that we just passed by now. Yeah, but I got myself for the first time. I tried a deep fried candy bar.
Oh God, which kind?
It was a Milky Way.
What did you think?
It was fucking great, but it's not something you can't do all the time because it literally made my chest hurt. So I was like, I'm going to drop dead. You know what I mean? So
Aaron, you're in Canada, right?
I am, yeah.
All right. So what like out here? If you go to a fair, you're gonna get like your funnel cakes. You're gonna get your big giant turkey legs. What is there a particular fair like? Deep fried stuff's kind of relatively new to the Northeast. I feel like.
Yeah. We just got the Oreos and
yeah. What is
fairly
the
recent.
Fair at a fair?
Poutine. You get a lot of poutine up there.
Yeah, it's usually funnel cakes. We kind of adapt it. We call it a beaver tail, which I guess is like some sort of take on Canadian culture. Deep fried animal limbs. No, I'm just kidding.
I once ate a pig's face, and I do like fried pickles, especially from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Don't talk about your ex like that.
Fried pickles.
I hate her guts. Just kidding. Don't listen to that. I'm joking. That's a joke. Kidding.
She's watching right now.
She might actually do that, and I'm just kidding. So I don't want her. I get a phone call tomorrow. She'll be mad. Like I'm just joking.
Well, I will say this. Speaking of carnies, that's the new go-to line from who is it? Christian, Larry's favorite wrestler.
Right.
Calling him a carny piece of shit.
He looks like he smells like curry.
Can I tell you the most unusual wrestling-related question I got at work?
Okay.
And people know I watch wrestling and I'm into wrestling. So one of the guys was like, I have like my mask for work. I often wear lucha masks from the lucha company there. Yeah. And he was like, could you get me one with Curry Man on it? And I was like, what? And he's like, Curry Man. I'm like,
Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels as Curry Man. I don't want Christopher Daniels. I want Curry Man. So
hot and spicy, baby.
I'm tempted to send him a DM and be like, listen, this is a weird request. Do you have this out there? As if you do, I know at least one dude that'll buy the mask.
I'm sure there's I think there's like legit Curry Man masks on highspots.com probably. They probably have them.
Yeah, I wore a Cena Lucha mask to work one day.
Did you?
For Halloween. Yeah, for Halloween I dressed up as Cena Lucha. Brought the belt in. I wore my Mr. Incredible costume the year before.
That's why you get made fun of in the judging all the time. Because you do shit like that.
I have my fans.
Oh, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Actually, I already read there's something we're going to replace OnlyFans, so let's move over there. That's
Okay.
fine.
That's
But
good.
OnlyFans is going to die. Who the hell's going to go there?
No one. Porn. I know we had a lot of pornography talk. Agreed. No one should. No children should Google anything from this show.
That line goes in the highlight clip.
Porn. The pornography business has decided winners and losers in terms of technology. For example, when we had the VHS versus Beta, right? Beta is a superior format to VHS, but the porn companies went with VHS, hence it won that kind of format war. Same thing like with DVDs and Laserdiscs. Same thing with remember HD DVD versus Blu-ray. The porn company went with Blu-ray. Like Blu-ray, they won. You talk about a lot of these VR stuff with the VR
porn
pornography.
industry wanted gas cars instead of electric cars.
They would win it. They would win. That industry is so strong. So anytime, like if you want to have your tech or your formats to be successful, there has to be that element there for those who indulge in such things. Just saying.
Okay, Alex, just so you know, I was curious, so I actually Googled bidet. Yeah. And they actually sell attachments now. You don't buy particularly like a bidet.
Yeah.
You buy the bidet attachment. Apparently, But I love like the questions, like the most popular questions. The pop. Do bidets get poop on them? No, bidets don't spray poop everywhere. Where does the poop go? Where does the poop go?
It's just it's just shitty water. That's it.
That's my best. What's his name from 24? Jack Bauer voice. Where does the poop go? Oh man.
But like conversations like this, you'll only get on the IWAR Tubecast live.
This is the type of content you've looked for from the IWAR.
I wonder if we will get demonetized, but we'll see.
We're gonna get sponsorship. Like the Google listening engines right now are like tick 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 tick.
Bidets, wet wipes.
We're gonna have dude wipes. We're gonna have bidets. It's a happening, as Mean Gene would say. Not Mean Gene, Gorilla.
Gorilla was happening.
Can I tell you one fun fact? When I was a kid in fifth grade, me and Keith Patterson, who was one of my best friends at the time, we were bored in class, so we just made a list of, like, we'd go back and forth passing a notebook, and he'd write, like, Gorilla Monsoon, it's a happening. I write Bobby Heenan and do a bit.
Will you stop?
It was fantastic, just writing lines back and forth.
There's a Twitter account that it's just like it's basically Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon commenting on what's going on today. And that's the Twitter account. So
like in the wrestling world,
yeah, like a modern, it's modern, right? So it's whatever's happening, like it's basically Gorilla and Bobby commenting on what's happening today. It's a great follow. I recommend it highly.
Oh my god.
I got it.
No, we'll do it on the show, the Tubecast, the real Tubecast,
versus the fake Tubecast that we're doing right now.
Well, the live Tubecast,
live, doing it live,
edited Tubecast.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just so you know, my laptop, I think it's the AC port where the plugs in, because the two chargers I have work.
Yeah.
But I have to like hold them a certain way to like carry the charge.
Yeah, that means you have to buy a new laptop. There ain't no fixing that. Don't get a Chromebook. Get like
Chromebook. Don't get a Chromebook.
No, because a Chromebook is just Chromebook's just a tablet with a keyboard. Don't get a Chromebook.
What I want to do is
buy a Lenovo Yoga.
What?
That's what it's called. Or a Legion. Or
Lenovo
Asus.
Yoga.
Yeah.
Am I looking up in trouble?
No, it's a real computer. I work at a computer store.
I know that. Let me see here. I actually, you'll be interested. I saved the link for your hyperlink to get money to you. Hopefully this works.
Yeah.
So on my desktop bookmarks, I have an Amazon logo.
No, it's been working because I see random. More people should do it because it's the easiest thing on the planet. Don't be a jerk, and all y'all buy shit on Amazon. I don't know why you even fronting like you don't. But I do get a list of what the purchases are, not who purchases stuff. So someone bought a large microwave heating pad. I'm assuming that's you.
That's me.
Bay Run soap by Dr. Squatch.
That's me.
iPhone
Thanks, Scott, for that
charger,
one.
car charger, a bandana, digital laptop charger for your Dell.
Yep.
So you're a big fan of Dr. Squatch?
You know, it's funny. Scott was telling me how great it was, and the thing
I
about
like it. It's so expensive.
it is, but you know what? The bar soap. I don't know if you have it or not, but
The
you got
cover?
Duluth Trading around there.
The what?
Duluth Trading.
No.
All right, they're like the clothing store. Well, they're
Yeah.
online too, Duluth Trading. They sell a thing. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, and it's like this. It's like picture a sock with one side's really rough and one side's like, mesh. So you put your soap in there. And
Like
you
a
scrub it,
loofah?
like,
Is that what it's called? A
Uh-huh.
loofah? Like a loofah?
kind of. It's not really. It's like a thinner loofah. But anyways, I just put the soap in there and it lasts a long time that way. It doesn't get eaten up just sitting on the counter.
Does
in
it
the
melt
shower.
away? That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So I got the Bay Rum one deodorant. It's good. And I'm when it comes to deodorant, man, I can't mess around. If I use clear deodorant, I smell like an Italian sausage. Like it's just terrible.
I
cannot
have to
clear
use.
deodorant.
I can only use one deodorant, and it's like this Gillette one. That's like it's clear, but like it works. But if I use any
you
other
gotta find your
ones.
right body chemistry. Everyone's different, but like
Yeah.
for me, it was Old Spice Fiji. Works fine, but I wanted to switch it up and
Mine is I have to have extra aluminum in mine, or it's not gonna work.
I put tinfoil on my fist and rub it in with get that extra foil.
What is this?
So now we've part of the show where we plug random products. But in all seriousness, what was it called? Lenovo?
Lenovo Yoga.
Lenovo. Okay, I've got L. So like Lenovo.
Lenovo, yeah, it's the name of that's the brand, and Yoga is the model.
I spelled it like the way you pronounce the names of the wrestlers. The flagship, $800. Holy shit, dude!
It's what computer cost.
I know. No, here's the thing though. Like I see it has a pen. So are all screens now like you can like? I'd like to be able to draw on a screen.
It's like 90% of them are touchscreen now. It's
I
very
don't touch it,
few.
I'm saying like drawing, on a screen. Or
Excuse
should I
me.
just go and buy the attachment? Is it easier to do it that way?
I mean,
If I want to start drawing my graphic novels,
you're better off with a Wacom then if you're gonna do that.
Ooh, wood barrel bourbon is the best scent. Thank you, Justin. I'll keep that
If
in
you
mind.
want to do drawing, get a Wacom tablet for that.
A what now?
It's Wacom, WACOM tablet. That's made for drawing. That's $200.
Let me look that up. Let me look that up as well. All right, so I'm gonna. Oh my God, $1,000 computer! Holy shit!
That's what it costs. I mean, I built mine, but it cost me $600.
Let's see. Oh, the Lenovo Chromebook.
Don't get a Chromebook.
Why? What is?
Are you going to school? I don't understand why you need a Chromebook. Are you an 8-year-old girl? I don't understand.
Touchscreen, Intel. Like I don't know. Like things like gigabyte RAM. Like man.
You don't need more for you. You don't need more than 8 gigs of RAM. That's all you need. Hard drives are small. You're gonna have to buy an external anyway because they're only giving you like 500 gigabytes or a terabyte. So don't worry about the size. Size doesn't matter. You just buy an external anyway. It's cheaper. That's it. That's all you need. You're not hardcore gaming on it, so you don't need a gaming PC.
Nope.
So
I just
you're
took
fine.
a gigantic PowerPoint file with IWAR Wrestling in it.
Just make sure it's fast enough. Just make sure you have your 8 gigs of RAM. Get your screen size the way you want it, and call that a day. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Is that how you sell it to people? You're like, listen.
I don't sell shit. I try not to help customers.
Well, that's because you're always beating them up.
It only happened twice.
I always think of that scene from the Jerky Boys, where he's like, I put his head in this fucking hood and you're gonna fucking buy.
I'm not a salesperson, and I don't like talking about things that I'm not been trained to talk about. So if I went through all the trainings for it, because it's very extensive, if I went through all the trainings of it, and then I'm knowledgeable in what I'm speaking, I'm not one of those salespeople that like, I'm just gonna bullshit you and make you buy crap. Like I want to know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to sell patio furniture. I was really good at that back in the day.
Patio furniture?
Yeah, pre 9/11. I sold a lot of patio furniture pre 9/11.
So after 9/11, you were like, I can't do it anymore.
No. Powder coated steel versus aluminum. It's all good.
We've now entered the part of the show.
This is what's going to happen at the Tubecast. We get to towards the end of it, and then it's just going to devolve into insanity and just.
There is no better advertisement for it. This is why you guys need to chime in, and not just with the wood barrel.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
fucking ask a question.
Dr. Squatch.
Don't. I'm not going to make fun of your question, even if it's misspelled or it's grammarly, or it's messed up. See, that's already fucked up. See, that's what happens. So I like to get to know some of you guys out there. Like, what are you guys into other than professional wrestling and adult entertainment, sexual wellness and such? Watch any movies lately? That kind of stuff. See, this is why we need Luke on these, because then Luke will go off on a 45-minute tangent on the Loki TV show or something.
That was a good show.
It was a good show.
I did see. I watched the Tomorrow War.
Patio furniture feels. It's funny. Which one did you watch?
The Tomorrow War was the one on Amazon Prime. It was the one with Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Yeah, save your time. It's not bad, but it's just like hokey time travel movie. It's good special effects.
Why are you all this way?
Ooh,
how was Heels, by the way? How was
Heels? That's
Heels?
what I want to hear about.
Yeah, that's because I'm interested and not interested at the show at the same time. Because I saw a trailer and one dude was yelling at the other dude for following a script, and I don't think there's any independent promoter in the entire world that tells any worker to follow a script. It's ridiculous. So that really turned me off, but I still kind of want to check it out because I know Punk's on that show for like one episode or something. So I definitely want to see it. So let me know how that show is. So back to why I'm this way. I blame it on my childhood, probably. Yeah. That chemical imbalance in my brain. Drug abuse in the late 90s. Steroid abuse in the early 2000s. So that's
all
probably
the aluminum in your deodorant.
Paint chips. I drank gasoline once. I once drove a car into a lake at college. That was fun, and I was still out of college. Yes, and then we set it on fire.
In the water? That was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, we sprayed kerosene on it.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So we made the paper. That was Stony Brook College, in Long Island. I wasn't invited back. That was fun. But yeah, all true stories. I can tell you about the time that I was bouncer at a strip club. If you guys want to hear about that, that was interesting.
You were bounced?
Yeah.
What did you
bounced. Do? I sold bounce people. Like, what a bouncer.
Bounced. I think you got bounced.
No. I was a bouncer at a strip club. I sold bootlegs trinkets out of my trunk. That's how I paid for college. It's pretty good. I got my girlfriend to watch it. She hated wrestling but liked the show. Punk's on the next episode. It's a good watch, especially for wrestling fans. So yes, definitely we'll check that out. I know. I still think the best wrestling movie / TV show is The Wrestler with Ed Asner. Probably the best one. Followed by, I
actually think
I made you watch it for AWA.
Oh right, that's right. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, that was the one. It was like
Ed Asner plays Vern Gagne on that movie.
He's Vern. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That was awful.
Well, there's no holds barred. There's The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
The Wrestler wasn't bad. I saw it in the theaters. I remember feeling like that was pretty accurate. A lot of screwed up in wrestling.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I was in Georgia.
Body Slam, great film, by the way. Body Slam.
There was a guy who was like one of the promoters who'd wrestle on the show sometimes for the promoter. And I remember when I left Georgia, the last thing I heard about this guy was he ran somebody over with like his girlfriend with his pickup truck, ran her over. So he's in jail now. So
the One and Only is a good wrestling movie. That's what Henry Winkler, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Is like the Fawn's a good wrestler?
he's kind of small. I mean, that's why you ever seen the Fawn? The Fawn's a big wrestling fan, by the way. So he makes an appearance at WrestleMania 7. For those who don't know, but yeah, big wrestling fan, the Fawns. But yeah, he was in the one and only. I believe there's a Body Slam's the one that has the appearance by Ric Flair in it. I'm pretty sure.
Here's your question: does every computer have to come with Windows 10? Is that like a thing?
Yes.
God damn.
What other operating like? Are you going to use Link 6 or something? Like what do you do?
No, I don't know. I remember I liked Windows XP and they went away with it. eFeds not being. Hold on. Oh, damn my eFeds.
I guess talked about eFeds not being around anymore. I had to adapt my TT style from IWA to eFeds. Now I'm having to do it in reverse to shrink everything down. Any advice?
Don't shrink everything down. Make it a page.
Just make everything bigger.
Your font size 18. No. Seriously though, some of the guys, I've played eFeds for a while back in the day too.
I was more of a Stream Warfare Revenge guy, but
that was a good game.
It was a good game.
Missed that one.
I would say with your promos, the 3 questions: who are you? Why are you here? What are you going to do to make it happen? Call people out.
Build a universe within a universe. Kind of like what kind of promos are these? Are you one of those guys that hit the ring, grab a mic, and start talking? Are you doing something in a locker room? Are you doing a promo from an undisclosed location? Are you doing it from like your house? Like those are some of the aspects that you have to figure out. Once you get there, then everything else is content.
Here's the thing too. When you do your promos, I'm a big fan of like the vignette type promo where like you send a message. So, for example, as a preview, Barry Stevens' promo this cycle, he's at a flower shop sending flowers to the BBL roster for sucking so much.
Yeah.
And he's in exchange with the woman behind the counter, and like that's where it goes downhill. And the idea is like you don't have to be in the ring, you don't have to be behind the scenes, you don't have to be like one of the best promos I ever did, and I say this because there's a guy still using the exact same promo I did 12 years ago almost, to a word. When he rolls it out, and I laugh every time I see it because it's like I wrote this promo 12 years ago, and the idea is the the wrestler's walking into a junkyard, and he's walking by all these cars. There's the various names of other wrestlers spray painted on the hoods, and he's carrying a sledgehammer. And he walks around the thing. He's talking about how he's going to pick apart the league. He's going to pick one guy at a time, destroy them, and work his way to the top, yada, 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 right? Then he finally starts smashing the hood of a car, and when it pans out, the last thing you see is him walking away, throw the hammer down. The last thing you see image-wise is the hood and the name of the wrestler he's going to go after. This person still uses that promo. Still, I laugh every time. He hasn't done it in the BRL in a long time. But in LWL, he did it like every few cycles. It was like, are you kidding me again? But your promo, the more you can allude to with it, the better. I do this with the Von Schnapps this cycle, where the Von Schnapps are walking through the IWL fan zone, and they're looking at the IWL like Hall of Stars, and they're remarking about some of the people in the league that they've become big stars, and it's like, okay, well, we're in the IWL now. We were big, huge stars in CWL. We got to really prove ourselves here. We didn't do that well when we were here a couple years back. So, it's the more quirky or unique or standout your promo can be, the better. And I have a thing too. Like what I've been doing is framing up. This is an important part for the game in general. Like going forward is think about not who you're feuding with right now. Who do you want to feud with next? Like who is it? Like I look at the roster NWL, right? And we see some really good talkers. And I like seeing people who go from like a block of comments to a full page, like seeing their expansion. Like a good example is the Hebrew Hammer, Lance Horowitz, and how far he's come as a character. So I like seeing that transition. He was Steve Vertigo's partner, and then he was turned on Well, first he was attacked, then he was turned on, and then his poor father got beat up, which I enjoyed. Aaron can probably speak to that better than I can.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, one thing that I was thinking of with E-Feds versus IWA in particular is it's been a while since I've done E-Feds, but I remember back in the day, they're, those storylines and those sort of trash talks would be almost a little bit more instantaneous. Like events would be happening more frequently. So I think with the IWA, and I think maybe you guys are hitting on this a little bit, is that you're sort of maybe not packing more into a TT, but I think we're looking to we're maybe looking down the road a little bit, like you were just saying, with who do you want to feud with in the future. So, yeah, you're maybe not necessarily packing more into a TT, but you're not going to be able to post the TT as frequently, with 3 weeks being in between cycles. So you kind of have to think maybe a little bit longer term with, in each TT, you want to introduce yourself, give yourself a bit of background, but then you kind of want to lay some groundwork for some potential storylines or some feuds in the future as well.
Right. And one thing I'll say too, I see people talking about the punch knobs, Ryan P. Bastard. You already missed me insults you earlier. But when you have a league with the history that like the IWL has and the BRL has, and you have so much to work with and so many different stars, one thing you can do too, if you want to kind of like help, set storylines up or feuds up, is reach out to the commissioner. So like I had a player in the BRL that was like, hey, this guy is really good. I'd like to work with him. Right now, they're not feuding at all. So I wrote to the player and said, hey, this player is curious about working with you in a feud. Will you be up for it? And I said feud, but actually they might be tag. I'm not sure what he wants to do, but it's like reaching out. And I feel like there's so many people that when they're motivated, they're so much more fun to read. Like I'll give you a good example. One of my favorite, like one of the guys I mark out for is Money Driven Mike Sebastian. I'm saying Mark Sebastian. I'm not tired. So Money Driven Mike Sebastian was in the MML for years, toiling away, like huge record, top star, great promos, but like working with no one. And I was like emailing him and like chatting. I'm like, come on, man, come to the BRL. So he finally came to the BRL, had some great feuds. But like when he's not really feuding with anyone, his promos get more spotty and they kind of, they lack a direction. Whereas if he has a definite foe, they're way better. Same thing goes like, Ryan's on the Regulators or Empire Chaos. When Empire Chaos was killing Senya Lucha all the time, I laughed so hard at some of those promos. I mean, it was like you knew they were going to turn on him. I knew he was going to turn on him. He still turned on him. They were still awesome.
I see Ryan. Ryan's here.
Yeah, I told him we insulted him earlier.
I didn't do that yet.
Ryan Patrick, manager of the Regulators in the IWL. And great guy for sports information.
Oh yeah.
So he's my secret weapon when it comes to fantasy leagues. If I'm not playing him. But I will say the Von Schnapps make some definite, like this cycle coming up, their promos definitely like kind of not and as good as a good guy can kind of do. He's kind of challenge people and set up potential feuds. Although one potential feud is an old feud that might come back to haunt them. Dun dun dun. And I did a lot of work today because of the hurricane. Everything was canceled, so I stayed home and did a lot of design work. So I did a bunch of images today. I sent them over to Aaron for the cover. Some I sent to some of the players, asked for certain images. So if you're listening to this saying, hey, I'd like to have my wrestler, like I know, like for example, like Playboy Mick Ferrari, I just grabbed an image of Dolph Ziggler that was a Kaw image. I could make one up if you wanted a certain look to him. I could try to do that for you. I try to do it for players if I can, and they add it to my library, and then we kind of have it to work with. Name drop everyone and say I always say, if you're gonna say someone sucks, say it in a way that like is kind of like when I had LePage Turn in NWL, and even now, I say things that are mean, that are like almost borderline crossing the line when it comes to like, behind the scenes, like, oh, you shouldn't say that. But I think makes it burn more as a burn, Yes. So the multiple cycles is also a good way to put it. If you have a bigger story arc, that's fine. You know, a good example of like a big storyline arc would be Senya Lucha Neo Dragon, which went back years. And you know, Lucha comes in, he's there to beat Luther Alexander and finally give that bad guy what he deserves. And just as he's about to do it, you know, he gets betrayed by Neo Dragon, kicked out of the league. It's horrible. He finally comes back. He gets his revenge. You know, that's like it took like almost 3 years to do that whole entire storyline. You know, not to say you can't do a storyline that goes 3 or 4 cycles, then moves on to the next one. But I always say this: if you're gonna have a bigger story arc, you might want to do some work in your promos along the way to kind of recaps things, because you got to keep in mind we have new players that join the leagues
constantly.
You know, constantly that have no idea what's going on, and
I'm a big proponent of universe building. So
yeah,
so like I have what I call them NPCs, non-playable characters, that my wrestler Luther will interact with. Whether it be O.J. Simpson or Tracy Lords or some of the more ridiculous people that he hangs out with, because if he was a real wrestler, he would actually do that. He would just be around like these goofy characters, like Clarence Cochran. Like I used to have a robot. The robot died in a fire though, and he had Terrible Ted the Wrestling Bear. And makes appearance every once in a while. That haunts Luther. So start doing that. Also, just like there's going to be people he interacts with, and then use the kind of the staff we have. Well, I think your league, my league, both have backstage interviewers and ring announcers, commissioners. You can have interactions with them as well. Just make sure that you're playing to what those people are, not kind of make up your own thing. There's a lot of people that, well, I won't say a lot. That's inappropriate. There's some people that write that it's kind of not in universe. So it's like they're in their own bubble, telling their own stories, and not kind of reacting to what's happening. One of the big things that a lot of people should keep in mind is like there's stuff going on in your leagues. You got to react to it. So I always reference back, look at like a Ric Flair promo from the '80s. He's talking about Dusty Rhodes, but he's also talking about Magnum TA and the Rock and Roll Express and Jimmy Valiant, and there's all this stuff going on. You can't really ignore it. Like it's happening. If you're a good guy, and a bad guy, does a sneak attack, even though you're not in that particular feud, you can make mention of it. Like, oh, I don't like what this guy did. He's a jerk. You know what I mean? That like it can be basic as that stuff. If you're trying to, you don't have to rush anything. And that's the thing about IWA, and a lot of things that throws. If you go from EFED to IWA, the pace is very, very slow. It's every 3 weeks, but take that time to really kind of filter out what you're doing. You have a premise, and then you can really kind of work at it a little bit and kind of make it a little bit more polished than like an EFED that you did daily or weekly, to get it kind of across. And it's tough because now you're waiting for a response. You're putting something out there. You're waiting 3 weeks for a response. That's why it's always a good idea to get in contact with some of the people that you're feuding with, so you can bounce ideas off each other. Like we have these chat rooms and on Facebook and what have you. Like use the people. Like a lot of us are very accessible. There's over 100 members on the IWAR network page right now. It's a good possibility that the person that you might be feuding with is on that page. Go find them. And kind of work something else, work something out. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of have that go back and forth. But it is tough because the pace. This is a game from 1985. The pace is very slow. So everything is a slow burn, and it could take a year, to get to where you want. We're all kind of building the Stargate, which is the as of right now the premier pay-per-view. It's our WrestleMania. And that's usually December, January, so you get some time. But doesn't mean that you can't do things in between. That's why I have some of these more ridiculous things that happen in between, like what we're doing with Logan Kane. That's in between what we're going to be doing for Starcade, but this is just for right now. You just take that into account and feud with multiple people. You can do that. You don't have to focus. You cast a wide net, you get more fish, right? So you can feud with multiple people. You can there's a lot of things to talk about. You don't want to have that giant block of text either.
Break it up.
You got to break it up, use some pictures, use a logo. If you can't create them, find someone that can make it for you. Steal images from the internet. They're available. They're out there. I learned Photoshop. I learned video editing because of this game. I learned how to do these things. Take some time. Kind of, you don't have to be technologically savvy. Just do enough. Look at like the Three Birds, right? Very it's very old school style, which I appreciate. And they added pictures and is it as polished as some of the other stuff? No, but it doesn't have to be. It's the content that matters. It's just you want to get that attention also, but throwing a picture in there will get you some attention. Use sneak attacks and kind of get creative about how you do sneak attacks. Because like, how many backstage assaults can we really do? How many I'm going to jump the ring? Get kind of creative. I only do sneak attacks once a year, and it's an event. It's risky business, and I do one big sneak attack, and I sneak attack a bunch of people all at once, and that kind of sets off what I'm doing for the rest of the year. So it's risky business. So when you see that risky business logo, some people are going to get their ass whooped. That's the way it goes. That's the fun part. But it's always like, writing ideas are great, but the hardest thing is to get them on paper. It can be difficult. It can absolutely be difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's just it can be frustrating with the pace. But you just gotta slow everything down. But make it fun, be creative. I'm always a big proponent of do what you want to do. Let's make it good. Back in the old school, when I started the IWA, they had all these rules about TT that I completely disregarded.
There was a time in the IWA where you were limited to 100 words.
Yeah,
that was like back in the day, way back.
Like you couldn't do full page TT. The commissioner would get mad at you and then make fun of you to your face. You know what I mean? I got rid of all that shit. The
only thing I would ask when it comes to TT, I mean, say what you want, do things, make it worthwhile. Yeah. Make it legible, and don't make it so my eyes hurt reading the font.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, I'm not talking just like small size of font. I'm talking like use a font that's really hard to read, because then you're gonna be like, I hate this person so much.
Yeah, watch your scripts out there. That could be kind of difficult, but as long as you're having fun, that's all that really matters. Otherwise, do what you want to do. I'm always a big proponent of doing what you want to do, because I was someone that that they put restrictions on me early, and I remember I used to go to the old message boards, and I would I want to do this idea. It's like, that idea blows. I'm never going to tell you your idea sucks. I will help you refine it though, to get to where it needs to be. But there's no such thing as a bad idea or a bad concept. Everything can work. It just matters how much work you put into it, and kind of explaining how this is going to go.
I will say this too, when it comes to your promos, why it's good to call it multiple people. Like Darren just chimed in about waiting for Hall of Famer Rock to respond. It can be kind of a letdown if you put all your eggs in one basket, and you're looking to really feud with somebody in particular, and then you do all this work and they ignore you. And you're like, oh, what now?
Happened to me.
Yeah,
happened to me. This is stuff that I learned kind of the hard way. And then you have guys, you're in the middle of a feud, and they go inactive, and they fall off the face of the earth, and have something going on with multiple people. Just have that in your back pocket, and just kind of know where you're going.
Yeah. Just so you know, Luke chimed in to let me know that he's at work, asking how the stream is going. So I told him we were trashing him the whole time.
He's out there assassinating a word leader or something.
Yeah, I picture him like he's rappelling down the side of the Louvre, and he's taking out some dignitary who's crossed the line too many times.
Yeah, he shouldn't be listening to this at work, by the way, because we're talking about bidets and stuff. So.
Days.
So, any other questions before we wrap this up? I do have work at 6 a.m. and it's currently 1 a.m. So I have to get some sleep before I go to work tomorrow. But any final thoughts? Any final questions before we wrapped up the live stream? Do you like the format? You know, this is going to be ever evolving as a format. So it's going to be a lot up to you guys. You guys put the questions out there. We'll answer them and we'll see what's going on. That's the thing. So literally peeing on the barrel again of Indians. Had to ask Matt if that's okay. Always have a sounding board. I'll go to Luke and see if everything's appropriate or not. He's my Scott's here. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
You're late. No, I was kidding. But yeah, if you feel something's crossing the line, ask somebody before you put that out there.
Yeah, I would always say too, when it comes to we talked about this before, but when you're writing your character, like I had LePage Turner walking around outside the caged children on the border.
Yeah.
Giving them copies of his book, 501 Ways to Win at Life, to win. Be like, yeah, here you go, guys. Like, if they're a bad guy and they're a real bad guy, like that's what they do. I always feel that one of the areas of wrestling that people kind of miss the boat on is like if someone's a bad guy in wrestling, that's their character. You don't see someone like tweeting like, I'm trying to think who's a good villain. I don't know, Michael Caine, and telling him like, you were an asshole in this movie. What the hell? Like, no.
Right.
Keeping it within the game. Like there are people who have taken shots at me personally.
They name wrestlers after us.
Yeah, and it's more of a case of like it's just I don't give a shit, but it's like more of a case that's weak because now you're taking up time and people are like, what the hell? Yeah. But keep it in the game and keep it fun. Like it always goes like well, if the hero comes back to beat the villain, that's part of the process. But sometimes the hero doesn't win. It's more of a more modern writing twist, but. I would say have fun with it. Don't be afraid to take chances. And, we always look for good TT. I've actually got, where are they? I've got my bulletins buried under my ibuprofen.
Well, here's the thing, too. If you're someone that likes to push the envelope, be prepared to get some pushback every once in a while. I'm someone that likes to push it and be on the edge a little bit here.
You push it real good.
And, sometimes you cross the line by accident. It's happened to me. And you got to learn from that because it's going to happen. But, be prepared for that. Don't get mad. Understand what you're trying to do. And, understand that's going to be some pushback every once in a while, especially when we try to do some edgy shit every once in a while. Like, yeah. Is it kind of inappropriate to have, like, O.J. Simpson running around with Luther? Yeah, probably, but I write it in such a way where it's like it's more ridiculous because Luther's an idiot. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what makes it funny. CM Punk did not show up on this show, but he did show up on AEW Rampage, Scott. So CM Punk still refuses to return my calls.
For the next Tubecast.
CM Punk seems like someone that would play IWA. I know Cabana did.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah.
And if we ever do our IWAR con and go to a live show as a group, that'll be something to have a sign saying, "Did you play IWA? Come over here."
You'd be surprised how many people will mention it on YouTube. Oh, I used to play, or on Twitter. Anytime I post the ad, people remark that they used to play, and they played in the '90s or whatever, and they played for 3 cycles. They didn't know what they were doing, and they left.
Well, CM Punk's not here, but we have Brock Lesnar, so
yes.
But he's not saying anything. He's just showed up.
I was hoping Brock Lesnar would beat up Bill Goldberg's son, because I find that hilarious.
Well, Bobby Lashley gave him the full Nelson, so.
Yes, Hurricane Helms used to play, yes. It's true. So did Daniel Bryan.
By the way, that song comes on at work at least once a day, because that's what radio stations are like. And every time I hear it, I start screaming, "It's clobbering time!" which really upsets customers. That's okay. So if you guys like this show, let us know.
Yeah, you got any topics you guys wanna hear?
I can promise next time will be less bidet talk.
I can't guarantee that.
Bastard.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Yeah. Oh, Aaron's still here. I thought he fell asleep or something.
Brock Lesnar German suplexed me into my couch.
Only on OnlyFans. I wonder how Sable looks like now.
Oh man, that's.
You ever seen the picture of Brock Lesnar's daughter?
No, why?
Looks like Brock Lesnar with long hair.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's like Terry Gordy's daughter.
She's kind of hot anyway.
In a Brock Lesnar kind of way.
Everyone has their look. Come on now.
Tang does suck. Although the best Tang I did have was in the local jail here. World's best Tang, by the way.
World's best Tang.
Yes.
That should be outside the prison.
All right, guys. So we're going to wrap this up. So for Matt Riley, for our good friend Aaron, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.